Hello viewers, welcome back to our series of lectures on solid state. Today I will be talking to you about molecular symmetry. The session is planned as follows, that is, to begin with we will recall what we have done so far in these sessions. Thereafter we will try to define what is symmetry. Having done that, we will try to differentiate between two very important terms, that is symmetry operations and symmetry elements. We will try to see what do they mean and how are they different from each other. Thereafter, having done that, we will take up some examples, take molecules and learn about the symmetry operations which are possible in a molecule, and then try to see what are the elements of symmetry which make those operations possible there. Having done all that, we will try to sum up what we have done in today's session there. Let us make a beginning by recalling what we have done so far. What we have done so far is, that is, to begin with identifying solids as a state of matter and discussed their characteristics and classification and things like that. Thereafter, we explained the concepts of lattice, unit cell, and then in the process we defined different types of Bravais lattices, and then we focus attention primarily onto the cubic unit cells. Thereafter, we took up an explanation of closed packed structures which are very important to understand the structure of solids, the behavior of solids and all. Having done all that, we performed a very detailed analysis of CCP unit cell, and in that context we described the structure of some simple solids in terms of CCP unit cells. So, this is all what we have done so far. Okay. Now, let us move to symmetry. What exactly we mean by symmetry? Symmetry is a term which we all are very familiar with. Without even defining it, we know what a symmetry means to us, but still for the sake of it, probably we can define symmetry to be a body is said to be symmetrical when it can be divided into parts that can relate to each other in certain ways. That is one way of putting it. Symmetry is all around us. We come across symmetry in practically every sphere of our activity, because you see the buildings here, the cars we come across. This actually represents a section of one of the vegetables, that is a ladyfinger. This is a flower here, starfish, a bug, a crystal here, a human body. So, all of these are highly symmetrical because objects here, symmetrical entities. We are very familiar with all of them. Now, the question is, how do we describe symmetry? How do we talk about symmetry? For that, we need certain terms, and now we formally get into an understanding of symmetry. Now, there are two very important terms there. One is symmetry operation, one is symmetry element. People typically get confused in these two terms. Let us try to clarify ourselves. What do we mean by symmetry operation? What do we understand by symmetry element? We start with symmetry operation. Symmetry operation basically is a well defined non-translational movement which, when performed on a body, that leaves the body in a position that is indistinguishable from the original position. That is for the sake of it. Now, let us understand what does it mean. What does it mean is that, now suppose I have an object here. I have just taken a square ABCD. Now, if I rotate it by 90 degrees, I get this orientation there. This ABCD is just for sake of it. Now, suppose I had a square, I rotated by 90 degrees and I can't distinguish between the two. Then I say this, I have performed a symmetry operation. I have done a rotation. That rotation, since I am getting the final outcome is indistinguishable from the initial state, then I say it is a symmetry operation there. Let us put it differently here. Let me take a molecule now. Suppose I take this molecule. This is a molecule of ammonia. I just for the sake of it, for the sake of convenience, I am putting it a bond over there just to hold it here. Now, you see, this is a molecule of ammonia. If I ask you to look at this molecule, then for a moment I ask you to take your attention elsewhere. Then come back now. By the time you went and came back, I have done some change in this. Can you spot that change? If not, then I have performed a symmetry operation. So, that is the meaning of a symmetry operation. Okay. Now, so this is what I understand by symmetry operation is. That means I perform an operation on an object, and such that the result of an operation and the initial object, they cannot be distinguished. Then I say I have made a symmetry operation. Now, let us try to contrast it with symmetry element. Symmetry element is a geometric entity. It is a line, plane or a point about which the symmetry operation is performed. Let us take this example of water molecule here. So, you see that this water molecule, if I rotate along this axis by 180 degrees, so this will rotate and come down to the same state, it will be indistinguishable from there. Now, typically in the case of molecules, there are 5 different types of symmetry operations possible, and they happen to be identity. I will explain each one of them one by one, n-fold rotations, the reflection, inversion, and improper n-fold rotation. And for each of these symmetry operation, there is a symmetry element which the symmetry operation is applied or performed. Let me take each one of them, these operations one by one. Identity actually is not an operation, but it is there for the sake of it, because we do talk because we are essentially when you talk about molecular symmetry and all, we lead to what is called as a point group, and point group basically is a mathematical group. So, for the sake of completeness, to form a mathematical group, I need a term called as identity, that is doing nothing. All molecules or objects will possess this identity operation. This identity operation, which is symbolized as E, has the same importance as the number 1 in case of multiplication. You multiply any number by 1, it does not change. Same thing happens here. You have a molecule, do not do anything to that, it will remain the same. It is just needed, as I mentioned earlier, for the completion of the concept of group. Now, there are many molecules which have no other symmetry element, just only one symmetry element, that is identity. Let me take the example of that. Typically, this molecule of bromo, chloro, fluoro, iodomethane, you see that we have a carbon atom and there are 4 substituents to that. Each one of them is different. So, when you have got this kind of a molecule, if I have this molecule, I perform identity operation on that, this molecule is indistinguishable from the previous one. So, I say I have done an identity operation on that. So, in this case, once I have done this operation, so what is the symmetry element in this? Because I showed you that in case of ammonia, I had an axis on which I performed the operation. So, in this case, what is the element here? The element in this case is the molecule itself. Typically, all molecules or objects possess the identity operation, as I mentioned earlier. Let me take the molecule of glucose. If I have this molecule of glucose, I do not do anything to this, it remains the same. So, I say this is an identity operation there. All molecules, no matter what molecule it is, it will have this operation there. Now, we come to the next symmetry operation, that is called as n-fold rotation. It is symbolized as Cn. It is defined as a rotation by 360 by n degrees about a particular axis in a given molecule. So, that will be called as a n-fold rotation. That means, I rotate the molecule by 360 by n degrees, and this axis will be called as n-fold axis of rotation, that is a symmetry element there. Rotation by a certain angle is my operation. The axis along which I do the rotation will be my symmetry element there. So, that is a differentiation symbolized as Cn, and there are varieties of them is possible there. It can have C2, C3, C4, C5 or C6 and so on and so forth. Let us take up some examples of n-fold rotation. We begin with C2 rotation. Let me take a molecule of Ab2. You have got an atom A here, and then this is a bent molecule Ab2. If I take this molecule, and if I take this molecule and rotate along this axis, the dotted line here, by say 180 degrees, what happens is this atom here, which has been marked with some dot just for distinguishing, otherwise the two atoms are identical. When I rotate by 180 degrees, this dotted atom now comes this side, and the molecule is totally indistinguishable from the previous part of it. So, I say I have performed a C2 rotation, and this axis along which I perform this rotation will be called as C2 axis. So, there are two things. One is a action, rotation, that is an operation. One is element along which I am doing the rotation, that is my symmetry axis there. Now, let us take the example of water molecule. You see, in water molecule, this is oxygen atom and these two are hydrogens here. Now, if I take this molecule and think of an axis here and rotate this molecule by 180 degrees, what will happen is the two atoms, the hydrogen atoms will change places, but the molecule will remain indistinguishable. Let me show it with a different kind of a model here. So, here I will put some kind of an axis here. So, we got oxygen here, two hydrogens, and if I rotate by 180 degrees like this, I find the molecule is indistinguishable. So, this is I have performed a C2 rotation, and the axis I am holding here is my C2 axis of symmetry. Okay. Similarly, we can take the molecule of say formaldehyde. In case of formaldehyde, you got carbon, you got an oxygen here and there are two hydrogens here. So, think of an axis which is passing through this oxygen and carbon atom. So, if I take this axis and rotate the molecule by 180 degrees, this will be indistinguishable, this will be a C2 axis there. Let us move on to C3 rotation. Let me take a molecule is a flat planar molecule Ab3. Now, if I look at this molecule of Ab3, I find that if I look at this molecule and atom of A, this axis, if I take along this axis, if I rotate the molecule by 120 degrees, this atom which has been marked with a dot here will come somewhere here. That is where it is. If I rotate by another 120 degrees, it comes somewhere here. So, I am performing a C3 rotation. C rotation means 360 by 3, that is 120 degrees. So, that means the atom B will keep changing places, but the molecule will remain identical there. Let us take some examples of molecules here. Now, let me take a molecule of ammonia. In case of ammonia, ammonia is a trigonal pyramidal molecule. Now, if I look at this, this is my nitrogen, these are hydrogens there. If I this axis, I am just for the convenience I put it here. If I rotate this molecule by 120 degrees, I find that this molecule is indistinguishable from the previous one. That is my one rotation. I can perform another rotation, this another C3 rotation. I keep doing that. So, this axis along which I am making this rotation is my C3 axis, and the rotation by which I am getting the molecule indistinguishable from the previous one is my C3 rotation there. I can take another molecule, say this is my chloromethane. In case of chloromethane, you got carbon, you have got chlorine atom there are 3 hydrogens. So, if I think of an axis which is passing through this chlorine atom and carbon atom, if I rotate like this 120 degrees, another rotation by 120 degrees. So, these are my C3 rotations, and this axis will be my C3 axis there. Okay. So, that is a molecule of chloromethane I just showed you. Now, what happens is sometimes you may have a molecule which can have a number of axes of rotation or rotational axes. In such cases, we define a term which is called as a principle of axis of symmetry. That means, if a molecule has got more than one axis of symmetry, the axis of symmetry which has got highest value of n will be called as a principal axis of symmetry. Typical example is that of benzene molecule. In case of benzene molecule, it has got variety of symmetry operations possible there, symmetry elements possible there. You see that it has got C2 axis, another C2 axis, you got a C6 axis, you got a C3 axis, and there are certain S6 and S3 also, about which we will explain little later. So, you find that benzene is a highly symmetrical molecule. Now, in this case, since it has got C2 axis of symmetry, it has got C3 axis, it has got C6 axis. So, the C6 is the one with the highest value of n. So, this will be called as the principal axis of symmetry. Let us take the molecule of benzene. Now, if you look at this benzene, so this is the way I am holding the molecule here. This is my C2 axis. That means, if I take this molecule, rotate it by 180 degrees, I get the same molecule back. I can do the same from this side also. This is another C2 axis. I can think of another C2 axis. So, there are number of C2 axes in this. But if I can think of an axis which is passing vertically like this from the center of the molecule here, if I take this axis and rotate this molecule now, imagine a vertical axis here, and rotate the molecule by just by 60 degrees, I get the same molecule, another 60 degrees, another 60 degrees. I keep doing that. This is my C6 axis of symmetry. So, this is my C2, another C2 here, and this is C6 here. So, this C6 will be my principal axis of symmetry in case of benzene. Okay. So, we know what is the meaning of axis of symmetry as a symmetry element there, and what is my principal axis. Principal axis is the one which has got highest value of n. Okay. Let us move to another kind of symmetry operation, that is called as reflection. As the name suggests, reflection basically is you can think of a molecule and you reflect part of the molecule or the object through a mirror, and if you get the second part as a mirror image, I say I got a reflection operation there. This plane will be called as plane of symmetry, and which will be symbolized as sigma. Let us take the example here. Same molecule I had earlier. I take this molecule Ab2. Now, if I think of plane like this, so this part of the molecule, when I reflect through this mirror, this will become like this. That means, this dotted atom here will get into the image part of it. So, we find that this molecule, half of the molecule is the mirror image of other half. So, if I have that kind of situation, then I say I have got a symmetry element called as a plane of symmetry. Let us take the example of say a water molecule again. Now, if you look at this, this is my water molecule. We find that you got oxygen atom here, the two hydrogens. Now think of, let me just take this to be a plane, imagine it to be a mirror here. Now if I take this molecule of water like this and think of this plane which is cutting this oxygen atom from the middle. Now if I take this plane here, the part of this molecule, this hydrogen atom will reflect this through this plane and come to this hydrogen atom there. So I will say I got a plane of symmetry there. So that is the meaning of plane of symmetry. It is an imaginary thing. There is no plane, there is no mirror in the molecule. It is just that we have to imagine a mirror in the molecule such that one half of the molecule becomes the image of the other half. So if that happens, I say I got a plane of symmetry. And this plane of symmetry is symbolized as sigma. And there are three different types of planes possible there in molecules. They happen to be vertical planar symmetry, which is given a symbol as sigma v. We got horizontal planar symmetry symbolized as sigma h, and there is a dihedral planar symmetry symbolized as sigma d. Now a mirror plane that includes the principal axis rotation is called as sigma v. Again the same molecule here, we find that in this molecule Ab2, so this plane I showed you. Now you see that this plane includes this my vertical axis. The vertical axis was C2. This C2 axis, the principal axis, there is only one axis in this case, so that happens to be the principal axis. So this C2 axis happens to be part of this plane. So I say this is a vertical plane. So that is the way we define sigma v, a vertical planar symmetry. Take some examples. Say a water molecule. A water molecule has got two vertical planes of symmetries. You can see that if you look at the water molecule, there are two sigma v's. One is sigma v, one I labeled as sigma v prime. So if you look at the water molecule, the very plane of the molecule itself, the plane which includes oxygen atom and the two hydrogens, this itself, because if I take this plane and if I try to reflect the molecule through that, it will be identical. So this is my one vertical plane, and second vertical plane is the one which cuts through this molecule through oxygen atom, as I showed you earlier. Similarly, in case of ammonia, there are three vertical planes there. So different vertical planes which are there in a molecule, they are differentiated in terms of using primes, say sigma v prime, sigma v double prime, and so on and so forth. Let us take some examples with the help of models. Let us understand this. What I am basically referring to is, again I take my water molecule, they are the most simple molecule to use here. In case of water molecule, there are two planes of symmetry. One is this plane of symmetry, because this one C2 axis is there. So if I look at this plane here which cuts through this molecule, so this molecule will include my principal axis of symmetry, and this will be the one half of the molecule will be the reflection of the other half in that case. That is my one sigma v. Second is the plane of molecule itself. If you look at this molecule, if I just think of this plane which cuts through this atom of oxygen and then hydrogens through and through, then this plane also would include my C2 axis, that is the principal axis in this case. So this also will be a vertical plane. So this is one vertical plane, this is another vertical plane. So there are two vertical planes in case of water molecule. Let us take ammonia. In case of ammonia, there are three hydrogen atoms there. Let me call them as atom 1, 2, 3. Now I can think of a plane like this which passes through hydrogen atom 1 and nitrogen atom and includes this C3 axis here. So this will be one vertical plane. This is my sigma v. Similarly, I can think of another vertical plane like this which passes through the nitrogen atom and hydrogen atom number 2. Yet another will be through hydrogen atom number 3. So there will be three vertical planes, and each one of them will include my C3 axis. So each one of them will be a sigma v. So I label them as sigma v prime, sigma v double prime. Okay. So that is about my vertical planes. Let us move on to yet another class of planes of symmetry, that is called as a horizontal plane of symmetry, which is symbolized as sigma h. Now this plane is such a plane that is perpendicular to the principal axis of rotation. Let us take the example of trans 1,2-dichloroethene. Now look at the molecule here. This molecule is the way it has been put here, it is a flat planar molecule there, and there is a C2 axis here as shown here. That means if I rotate this molecule by 180 degrees along this axis, I will get the molecule back. Now if I look at this plane, the molecular plane itself, if I reflect this molecule, I find, like as in case of water, here also half of the molecule if I just pass this plane through the molecule, then the upper part of the molecule will reflect to the lower part of it. That means this will be a planar symmetry. And since this planar symmetry happens to be perpendicular to the C2 axis, which is the principal axis of symmetry in this case, so this will be a horizontal planar symmetry called as sigma h. If you look at this benzene molecule, we find that this molecule is a flat planar molecule, and we have identified a C6 axis here. Now, think of this plane, the molecular plane itself. Now, this molecular plane, if I take this molecule, this plane to pass through this molecule through and through, that means if I just slice through this molecule, then if I reflect the upper part of it, I find the lower part will come there. Okay. So, this will be a planar symmetry there, and since this planar symmetry is perpendicular to C6 axis, which happens to be the principal axis of symmetry, so this will be a horizontal planar symmetry. Yet another examples can be taken. You can think of BF3 molecule. BF3 molecule has got two types of planes of symmetry. In this case, we find that this is a flat molecule there. This is my boron atom there, 3 fluorine atoms there. We find that it has got 3 sigma V's, which I am sure that should be able to locate. That means one will be, each one of them will be through the boron atom and one of the fluorine atoms there, and there is the plane of molecule itself is the sigma h there. So, there are 4 different planes in this molecule, the 3 sigma V's and 1 sigma h. Let us move on to the third kind of planes of symmetry, which is called as a dihedral planar symmetry, which is symbolized as sigma d. This basically is a kind of vertical plane of symmetry. It is such that it bisects two C2 axes which are perpendicular to the principal axis of symmetry. Such a plane will be called as a dihedral plane. Let us take the example of benzene molecule. In benzene, what you find is there are a number of C2 axes, and we know that in this case the principal axis happens to be our C6 axis, and there are a number of C2 axes. Out of that, I have just taken 2 of them to show you that this is one C2 axis here, another one here. Now, if I can think of this is a vertical plane here, this vertical plane which bisects these two, you have a plane which is passing through here, it is bisecting this C2 axis and this C2 axis. This vertical plane, it will be including my C6 axis, and bisecting these 2 axes will be called as a dihedral plane. Let us move on to yet another type of symmetry operation, which is called as inversion. Basically, it refers to moving every atom in the molecule in a straight line through a point in the same molecule to opposite side of the molecule, and this point through which we do this kind of a movement is referred to as center of inversion. Let us understand with the help of the simple molecule here, it is 2,3-dibromobutane. What it means is the following: if you look at the molecule as shown in this particular configuration, we find that if I take this molecule of say bromine, if I move like this, it is an imaginary movement, it is not physically moving the molecule. We just imagine that if I start from here and try to move to a point here and then continue further down, that means if I travel a distance to this point and then continue the same distance in the opposite direction, I come across the same atom. Similarly, if I start with CH3 here, I move to this point and continue in the opposite direction, I come to a CH3 again. I can do the same with hydrogen and so on and so. If that happens, then we say we are doing an inversion operation, and the point through along which we do this operation is called as center of inversion. So, that is kind of the symmetry operation. We have a number of molecules, one of the molecules I am showing you here. Now, we are talking about improper rotation, SN. Now, improper rotation is actually a combined operation. Basically, it is a rotation followed by reflection in a plane perpendicular to the axis of rotation. Basically, you perform some Cn and then you do a reflection through sigma h. So, that is what is called as Sn. And this is also called rotation reflection axis. Let us take the example of methane here. What you see is that this you know is a tetrahedral molecule, you got carbon here and there are 4 hydrogens here. Now, what you do is, as I said earlier, that this is a combined operation, there is a rotation followed by reflection. So, what you do is, now suppose I do a C4 rotation. So, this is along this axis here, the vertical axis, I am rotating the molecule, you have to just imagine that I am rotating by 90 degrees. So, when I rotate by 90 degrees, this atom will come somewhere here, and then thereafter if I reflect through this sigma h here, plane here, then I get the atom right here. So, this atom and this atom are related to each other by S4 rotation, that means C4 followed by sigma H. Similarly, all other atoms if you take, they behave the same way. That means we say that in this molecule there is an S4 axis of symmetry, an improper axis of symmetry. Let us understand the same with the help of a model now. This is my methane molecule. I am holding it in this particular orientation, wherein these two hydrogen atoms which are linked to carbon atom are in the vertical direction like this, and this one is pointing towards you, this is pointing towards me. Now, suppose I take this molecule and rotate this molecule by 90 degrees on this particular axis. So, I am trying to do a C4 rotation. When I do that, what happens is I get this molecule like this. Now, having done this, I do the second part of the operation, that is I take the imagine a plane here in a direction perpendicular to the axis of rotation. That means, this is my C4 axis here. I am thinking of a plane like this. If I do the reflection, what will happen is, that is how it will happen. That means, the part of the molecule which was below now comes up there. You find that this orientation is same as the one with which I started with. That is, you have got two hydrogen atoms like this, one towards you, one towards me. Okay. So, when I have done this, I say I have performed a S4 improper rotation there. So, that is the meaning of an improper rotation. That means, you first rotate the molecule by a certain angle, then reflect through a plane perpendicular to the particular axis there. Now, there is very interesting observation here, that is, for a molecule to have an improper axis rotation, it need not necessarily have either the Cn or sigma H. What it means is that the example I have taken just now, that is of methane molecule, it has an S4, but it does not have either a C4 or a sigma H. Similarly, we can even take the case of ethane molecule in the staggered conformation. It has a S6, but it does not have a C6 or sigma H. Let us move further and see that what will happen if I take a symmetry operation and perform it successively on the same molecule. What do I get? Let us take the example here. So, it may so happen that we can perform successive operations of a given kind on the same symmetry element. If that is possible, then these operations are identified by different kind of notations there. I will explain that as I proceed, and the number of successive operations may lead to exactly same configuration eventually. Now, we can take the example of ammonia, wherein we may perform 3 successive rotations of 120 degrees. That means, a rotation which is C3 rotation. Now, these are designated as C31, C32 and C33 respectively. Let us see what do I mean by this is, you have got an ammonia molecule here. This is nitrogen, this is my hydrogen atom number 1, 2, 3. Now, if I do a clockwise rotation by 120 degrees, what do I get is, you get 2 here, 1 comes here, 3 comes here. So, this molecule is not differentiable from this one. So, I say I have performed a symmetry operation, and this is my 120 rotation, means I have done C3 rotation. Since I have done for the first time, I call it as C31. If I repeat the same thing, I can do the same, and what I get is, now atom number 3 comes here, 1 comes here, 2 comes here. So, this is we call as C32. I can continue doing this, I can do another 120 rotation. What I get is, I get the same orientation back. This is my 1, 2, 3, I get 1, 2, 3. Now, you find it that this is identical to what I started with, and these are indistinguishable from this one. So, there is a difference between the two terms here. Indistinguishable means they are similar, but they are not the same, whereas this happens to be identical, means the same. If that happens, so I can at best have say C31, C32, C33. If I do it once more, I will come to this state again. So, there will be again C31. So, if I do a successive operation, I come to a state which is identical to the one I started with, identical, not similar. Then I say come to this is equivalent to my identity operation there. So, C33 will be E. So, that is very important here. That means, successive operations may lead to the identity operation eventually. Now, let us sum up what we have done today. What we have done today is, we started by briefly reviewing the contents of previous sessions. Thereafter, we explained the concept of symmetry differentiated symmetry operations from symmetry elements. Having done that, we took up different types of molecular symmetry operations and the corresponding symmetry elements with suitable examples. Having done all this, in the next session we will continue with this a little more and try to take some more examples, try to take some molecular examples here and try to see what are different kind of symmetry elements in that. Then we will briefly touch upon the concept of a point group, and then thereafter we will move on to the symmetry in crystalline solids, because that is what eventually we want to talk about, because to understand the crystal symmetry we need to have understanding of molecular symmetry, which has been done today. Thank you.